Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and I'm going to show you how to install the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit on our 2024 Ford Maverick. A diode wiring kit is designed to tap in the back of your factory taillight so that you can accurately transfer the lighting signals from the back of your motorhome to the back of your Maverick. Essentially, if you look at it as like you're pulling a trailer with your motorhome, you have to do the same thing if you're pulling a car behind your motorhome. You have to be able to transfer those lighting signals, whether it be your blinkers, your stop, or your running lights. You need to transfer those back here so that others know what your intentions are when you're going down the road. There are a couple other solutions other than diodes when it comes to choosing a kit for being able to get those lighting signals back here. One of them is going to be a bulb and socket kit, which as you may suspect, it is going to be a light bulb and a socket that you will have to drill in the back of your taillights. I do not like those kits because I do not like tampering with the factory lights on a vehicle because you can get moisture in there and then that causes the light to go out prematurely. The other kit is going to be magnetic lights, which I'm sure you've seen more commonly on vehicles. You'll see the light sticking off to the side. I also don't like those because you have to run that 4-pole wire up to the front of your vehicle, somehow draping it along. Some people will use painter's tape to keep it controlled on top of the vehicle, run it down the hood. That is something you have to set up every single time you go to flat tow. With these diodes, you don't have to do anything. Once you get it installed, it will run, the lights will run just as normal if you're just driving your Maverick around, or if you hook up to your motorhome, it's gonna know to get the signal from the motorhome to these taillights. And all you have to do is plug your 6-pole plug-in on the front of your Maverick. As far as what's included in the kit, our particular kit that we installed today just has the 4 diodes and the 4-pole wiring in it. We did not need the full all-inclusive kit, which includes the pigtail. That's a 7 to 6-pole pigtail that you'll plug into the front of your Maverick, and then the 6-pole itself that it plugs into, because we have the Roadmaster Nighthawk, which is an incredible tow bar. It comes with the wire, the pigtail pre-wired into the bottom of the tow bar, and will also come with a 6-pole plug. So we just got the kit that has the 4 diodes and the 4-pole because we didn't need those other things. In addition to your diode wiring, the other 4 main components that you're going to need in order to flat tow your vehicle is you're going to need a base plate, a tow bar, your safety cables, and your supplemental braking system. As far as the installation goes, this by far out of any of the components that we install for a flat tow is going to be the easiest, because all it requires you to do is to run a 4-pole from the front of your vehicle to the back. You'll tap into the back of the taillights with the diodes. We're going to show you how to do all of that, and I'm going to tell you the color codes of the wires so that you know exactly which ones to connect to. It is a good idea to go ahead and test them yourself, and just in case Ford did decide to change the colors on you, you'll at least know that you're doing it correctly. But with that being said, let's go ahead and show you how to do it. To begin our installation, we're going to need to run our 4-pole wire from the front of our vehicle to the back. Now you notice that the front of our vehicle is disassembled. We took our bumper off, our front fascia, whichever. We took it off to get our base plate installed. If you're installing your base plate yourself, this is a great time to do your wiring and all your other components that you need to get installed, because it's much easier to run this wiring without that bumper in place than it is when it's up. So we started with our wire here. I always just zip tie it off to these 2 prongs on our base plate so that it doesn't go anywhere, and we know that we always have enough to connect to our 6-pole. And then I just ran it over, behind, and up. It really doesn't matter where you route the wire, as long as you keep it away from anything hot or moving. So we just routed our wire up and into our engine bay. And if you're not installing a braking system that requires this 4-pole wire to be up in here, you don't have to run it up in there. You can just run it straight to the back of the vehicle along the frame rail. But I ran it up in here because we're going to be installing the Demco Stay and Play Duo, and it needs to tap into the wires from this 4-pole. So I just ran it up, ran it back down. Again, stay away from anything hot or moving, and zip tie it wherever you can. I zip tied this to make sure that we have enough slack up here to connect to. The other thing you'll want to do before we run our wire back to the back of the vehicle, or down and back, is once you get it up in your engine bay, you want to strip back the white wire. So from the end that's going to eventually be at the end of our vehicle, you want to strip it all the way back to here, and then you want your white wire to continue on down to your 6-pole on the front of your vehicle. This is eventually going to get grounded with a couple other grounds up here in the engine bay. So we came down out of our engine bay. It's very difficult to see because it's hidden up here, but we came down and then we ran our wire inside of this, this fabric material here. You just have to take down some push pin fasteners along the side and some 10mm these push nuts. So just take all those off. You can peel this down, run your wire back. We've got it all the way back here to where we can see the wire again. And we ran it up over our fuel fill, up above these wires. Again, we'll throw some zip ties on here in a little bit. And then we've got it over top of this ground right here. Now, I've got the green wire already stripped off of the 4-pole, or the remaining 3 wires that we had. The yellow and brown are going to go up and inside our taillight housing on our driver's side, and then the brown will have to come back down, and then the brown and the green then will go over to our passenger side. So we'll go ahead and go up top, get our taillight taken out, and get these wires routed. Back at our taillights, we're going to take an 8mm socket, remove the 2 screws on the inside here. Then we can grab our taillight. And typically these you just pull, all right, this one, a lot of them you have to pull straight back. This one you just pivot out because it's got these 2 little prongs that are stuck in here. And then we're just going to get our taillight unhooked. There's no red safety tab on here, so we'll just push on that gray tab and pop that out. Now we're going to strip back our wires to get our diodes connected. We've got our white with a green stripe wire hooked up. You just want to take your spade terminals that come in your kit, crimp those on, and then you'll want your the one out, you want to go to the plug side of things, and then one of the ends will go, you'll plug that wire back in. So I'm going to get our purple wire hooked up now, and then we'll come back and show you how to hook your 4-pole wire that we ran back here. Now we've got our yellow wire connected up to our spade terminal. That one you'll just connect into that white wire with the green stripe. And then our brown wire, it's going to be a little different. We pull our brown wire up, we cut it, we strip back 2 ends of it. That's why you get this bigger yellow spade terminal in your kit. You want to splice both of those together, and then this brown wire, the remaining, is going to go back down and over to the passenger side with our green wire. So we'll get this connected here. And then what I'm going to do now is, now that all of our connections are made here, I'm going to toss this brown wire back down. I may end up having to extend it because it is a little shorter, but I'm going to toss this back down in here and run it over to the passenger side with our green wire, and we'll catch up with you over there. We've got our green and brown wires ran over into our taillight housing. When you're running it over underneath, you can just tie it up to some existing wiring to get it up and into this cavity. So on our passenger side, we are going to have different colored wires. They are going to be in the same spot on the plug, so that'll give you a little bit of a hint. The running light signal is going to be a white wire with an orange stripe, and the stop and turn is going to be a light purple wire with a dark purple stripe. So we just got our wires connected back up like we did on the driver's side. We ran our diode in line with our factory wire and then tied our green wire in because that's going to be our right turn signal and our stop signal. And then our brown wire we tied in with the white and orange wire. With both of our diodes in place on either side, we're going to plug our taillight back in. I'm just going to slide this in here for now. I like to tape those diodes up so that they do not come apart. You can use some black silicone too, but I like to make sure everything's working correctly before we do any of that permanent taping. So we'll get this held up here, and then we'll go up front, show you how to hook up your 6-pole, and then we'll test them out. When putting your 6-pole on, you're going to want to start, I always start at the top. The lid will open like this. So if you hold it, rotate it up, this is going to be your brown wire, then your white wire, then your yellow wire, then your green wire. And just rotate around counterclockwise. We'll just do one wire at a time. You want to strip back just a little bit, maybe a 1/4 inch. When you're tightening these screws down, do not Do not tighten them down too much because you can end up cutting the wire just from the screw being tightened. You can see here we've made our connections. Now I'm going to go up in the engine bay and we have to ground this ground wire to our chassis somewhere before we can test out our lights. Now we took our ground, which is actually really convenient since we ran our wire right up in here and this white wire is split off. There's a couple of factory grounds right there on the top of that plate. We just took one of those bolts out using an 8mm socket and put a ring terminal on our ground and grounded it right to that. And we're not using our motorhome to test this out, but if you're doing this at home, you can probably use your motorhome, or that would be best, really, because then you know for a fact that it's working properly. But if you don't have your motorhome with you, if it's at a storage lot or something, just plug this 7-pole into the back of your friend's vehicle or another vehicle that you have in your driveway. We're using a tester box. This is going to basically be our motorhome in this case. So we've got it plugged into our 6-pole. We'll run through the basic functions. We'll start with our taillights, our brake lights, our left turn, and our right turn. Now that we know everything's working properly, I'm going to come back with some electrical tape, get these diodes all taped up, and so that way we know that they're safe for travel. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit is right for you in your 2024 Ford Maverick.